By the way, the first 5 people that subscribe to all of my platforms will get a free boop on the snoot. You can't put a price on that. Act now. Supplies are limited. I have limited boops. Good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful, beautiful Friday morning out. I hope it's the same where you are. If it's not, and it's dreary and it's raining, I hope you have the day off. I hope you're able to curl up with a good book and your favorite pet if you have one. If not, look at your aquarium or just spend a quiet day alone. I don't know why I kind of felt like saying that, but it just made sense. If you have to work today, then I want to get this out to you quickly, and I want you to carry it with you to work and be the absolute best you can be. Speaking of best, I have some pretty exciting news. I'm pretty sure that you saw the notepad and pen on my desk and wondered, why is Wolfgar carrying a notepad and pen? Well, the answer is very simple. I have some notes and some news I want to share with you. Are you ready for this? On Odyssey, we had no views. That's okay. It was only uploaded about maybe 15 hours ago, so it's still a little fresh, and the reason it had no views was because, or the reason it had a late upload was because Odyssey completely skitzed out on me, and I wasn't able to upload it in time. But and this is in order of ascending, we're doing an ascending order here. Rumble 9, YouTube 9, Clouthub 22, BitChute 95, for a grand total of 135 views for yesterday's video. That's because of you. And I humbly thank all of you. I do. I thank you very deeply, because without you, that would not be possible. So, go ahead and close my notepad now. Alright. You know, I actually forwarded, I was doing some looking last night after I got done with all my stuff, and I sent the figures for last night over to Brian from Fixed Air Moon, which, if you haven't checked out his channel, by the way, you need to. Also check out Witcharoo's channel, because they're awesome. And I seem to remember old B Magic there saying that I would be reaching a wider audience on YouTube. It seems like BitChute is taking this and running with it. Not complaining, not complaining. Some of you, I know, you're viewing on Clouthub, or, you know, you're viewing on Clouthub because you're on Clouthub and you're right there, and you get the video link, and you're like, well, I'll just stay right here. Some of you are on other platforms. Some of you just want to avoid all the ads that YouTube places on my videos from time to time. And I am not going to argue that with you. Not at all. In fact, I'm actually okay with that. Don't have to be a success on YouTube. Not at all. As I've said before, I don't have to reach millions, I just have to reach you. So, while we're talking about that, we can also talk about, I've got some ideas for decks of my own. And I actually discussed them with Witcharoo last night, and she gave me a little bit of an education on how to get that kind of thing done. I was like, that's interesting. So, I may actually develop a few decks myself. I don't know yet. It's one of those things that, you know, the idea that I just kind of put out there to Witcharoo last night was for a black metal tarot deck, because it would lend itself pretty well to that to the Rider-Waite thing, and I think the aesthetic would be pretty funny because it would be so over the top that you can't take it seriously, and you shouldn't, because it would be built for a laugh, really. I mean, you could use it for divination if you wanted to, but I think anyone who bought one of these those decks that I proposed would probably do it more as something of a novelty than something serious. I do have a couple of ideas for something a little more serious, but still kind of just they're in the embryo stage, shall we say? And here I go dropping cards. Also, I was given a couple of new decks as a gift. Kind of an impromptu, spur-of-the-moment thing. And they were the Cat Tarot, which everyone knows. Mr. Bub over there. Yep. I am a cat kind of guy. Love dogs too. Nothing wrong with having a dog. So this is a deck that I looked at and kind of decided I wouldn't buy that for myself, but it was purchased for me. And after looking at it, I could tell you this much: the day I use that will be on a Friday. There we go. And the reason I would use it on a Friday is because it's so funny. Just to give you a couple of examples, Death and the Devil, two cards no one ever wants to have pop up in their spread. Death is a vacuum cleaner, and the Devil is a dog. So this deck is purely told from the standpoint of a cat. And here's the thing, there's even I think it was the Seven of Wands, which depicts a brown tabby knocking things off of a surface. And I showed it to Bub and I said, hey, look, it's you. And he took a swipe at it. So anyway, let's get down to this reading, shall we? Now that we have all the cards laid out, we have everything ready to go, let's do it. Starting with you today. And before I turn these cards over, before I do anything, I want to start by saying the comments have gotten a little more lively lately. I don't mind any views being expressed, any at all. You're more than welcome to express your truth right there in the comments. You're more than welcome to disagree. You're more than welcome to walk away. The only thing I ask, and I'm going to challenge some of the younger folk in here too, I want you to go look up the term netiquette. I'll put it right here. Right there at the bottom. Look up that term and just apply it to the comment section. I will say this, I got a comment yesterday that was firmly rooted in my commenter's truth, and I countered with my own, that I firmly believe all small animals and small children were put on this earth to make faces at me. Proved me wrong. Checkmate. Of course, that's played for a laugh, so life's too short to take too much seriously. Trust me. Alright, let's do this damn thing, shall we? Starting with you, the card that symbolizes you today. You are a sunstone today, which means that you clear the mist, you clear the fog, you demystify, and you help someone find their true north this weekend. That is not a bad card to have. You are the essential element to lead and guide someone else. And I don't want you to start thinking, oh, well, I'm just little old me, what can I do? Well, you damn well spread the word about this channel. You got 130 some odd views on it. Even if you didn't do all of them personally, you still had a hand in it. All of you did that. You did it in collaboration, and some of you weren't even aware of it. So the next thing we got is our guide. Oh, speaking of cats, Freya shows up this weekend. And as it turns out, not only is she is a goddess of war, she is a goddess of death, she is a goddess also of passion, and furthermore, her chariot is drawn by two cats. Cats are her animal. And I'm going to have kittens right here if that spirit animal turns out to be a cat. Let's see. I'm almost afraid to turn this over. Okay, nope. We have Ratatos the squirrel himself. So a squirrel spirit, which is just believe in yourself, okay? You cast aside all self-doubt. There is no room for it this weekend. Not for you. You have to be as sure of yourself as any. There is no other way to lead someone else unless you're sure of yourself, and that's the key thing. Okay? So let's start with our tarot. We've got mind, we've got body, we've got spirit here. Those are three things that one of my coaches back in junior high said to strive for. Strive for strength of mind, body, and spirit. He was also a power lifter, by the way. Alright, so in the mind, we have 5 of coins. Got some financial worries there, do you? We do have the devil. The vacuum cleaner, right? Or it would be if this were the cat tarot. And we do have a 2 of Cups. We got a soulmate card in here. I'm going to tell you something about soulmates. You don't always marry them. Sometimes you're just friends with them. All soulmate really means is that your souls are paired. You're connected in a way that no others can be. Sharing that connection is everything. Now the devil card is what's keeping you kind of like locked in place. And this is not, I know I'm going backwards, but this is not you being rooted. This is you being bound. And what I'm seeing is, I'm seeing some financial worry here. So finances are keeping you from achieving that. There's something in, you know, these financial worries that are keeping you from achieving that partnership with someone else. And I'm looking at this as possibly a business, but this weekend it is time to really start thinking about that business. You need to seek out that partnership. Sometimes soulmates can actually be just business partnerships. So I am seeing that. You know, but why is work coming up on the weekend? By the way, you see him. You see him. He's freaking out. I don't know why. Anyway, so wow, that's pretty. This looks to me like your self-doubt is keeping you from achieving that Two of Cups there, that emotional partnership, that really tight bond, and you need that really tight bond. How's that affecting you physically? Well, you got a King of Coins, so looks like the worries are kind of unfounded here. You've got a Page of Wands. You've got the creativity, you've got the energy, you've got the passion. Let it flow. Let it flow as though you were a kid. You got a new game, you're eager to play it, you know the rules, get to playing. Also, we have a Nine of Coins. So physically, right now you're actually doing all right. I don't know where these worries are coming from, but the worries are what's holding you down at the moment. And this weekend may be time to release them. In fact, maybe not at all. It's time. In your spirit, you have the Emperor, a real hard ass here. And what is ruling over your spirit at the moment? Because it is totally being a bit of a fascist. You also have Temperance. Now, Temperance, you need to balance things out. Where your focus right now, so you're looking at, I'd be willing to bet one of you out there is looking at this, the things in your physical section, and you know you've got it. You know you have this. The evidence of it is right there in front of you, but you have all these doubts. And you're turning to these hardline spiritual things, but the fact of the matter is you need to balance them. Everything in moderation. You have some extremes that you're dealing with. Guess what? This is what we were made for. This is why we came, to deal with those extremes and to be able to, you know, hold on to those two polarities and just really grab and pull them together sometimes. And finally, you do have a Five of Coins, and this is a heck of a loss. This is something that's not really going in your favor right now, and I'm seeing because of that doubt. That doubt that's just keeping you locked in. It's saying, no, I'm not letting you go. Well, if you keep siding with the doubt, you will lose. You will not be able to guide. I'm letting you know that right now. But if you believe in yourself, see, the bad thing about this card, the one thing nobody likes about this card, is this card speaks a lot of truth. It tells you, you got yourself into this mess. That's the bad news. It's also the good news. Why is that the good news? Because you can get yourself out. And you're probably getting a lot of like really, really hard advice here. But the fact of the matter is, I'm seeing this as a person who thinks that they can kind of control you. And I'm seeing this as the key to unlocking both the evidence that's in front of you that you've got this, and the erasure of self-doubt, because this is a person who, this is someone in authority telling you, you can't do that, you're not powerful enough. And that's what I'm seeing with this Emperor here. You know, you need to join us. Get that? You weren't meant for that. And you are feeling this in your spirit, that there is a bit of loss somewhere. There's a loss of trust. There's a loss of respect somewhere. Even a loss of faith. And guess what? Having your faith damaged, having your faith tested, that comes with the territory. But now is not the time to give in to self-doubt. Remember, as a literal figure, that's what this does. It sows doubt. Don't let it. Stand strong. You've got this. So for this, and this, by the way, I completely forgot to tell you, these tarot cards are Tarot Grand Lux. We have the Starseed Tarot, we've got the Spirit Animal and Viking, the Starseed Oracle, Spirit Animal Oracle, and Viking Oracle today. Okay? Tarot Grand Lux is absolutely, they're absolutely gorgeous cards. Alright, so, here you go. This card, right there in your mental, should remove all doubt. The Peony. I've addressed this one before. It does not give a shit about the tulip down the road. It doesn't give a shit about the rose bush next door. When it blooms, it just stands there and says, here I am. It is in full bloom and it's absolutely 100% gorgeous. It doesn't compare itself to the rose, it doesn't compare itself to the tulip, it doesn't compare itself to the sunflower or the cherry blossom or any of that. It just is. Here I am. You need to let yourself be seen, finally. Here we go in your physical. This is what's happening to you right now. Weight of the world. Alright, so it says, boundaries, let it go, it's not yours to carry. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a song I do remember from, I won't say it's my days kind of hanging around a Baptist church. Makes a lot of sense now, since I laid my burdens down. Anyone, especially my Christian people, you know that one. You have to guide. You can't do it if you're carrying all these burdens that you don't need to carry. All that guilt, all that self-doubt, all that, you know, those old wounds, let those heal, okay? You have a job to do. You have a duty to fulfill, and this is the time to do it. Here we go. I've been saying this all week. Baby steps. Baby step that thing if you got to. You don't have to go and, you know, publish a book today. You haven't even started writing it. You haven't even gotten the idea. Get the idea. Jot down some notes. You know, brainstorm. Do all that. Everything in steps. And it says, follow your intuition before it makes sense. We're pointing at the temperance card on that one. You know, moderation in all things, ladies and gentlemen. Weight of the world's pointing right there at that devil, pointing right there at that, well, no, that's all, yeah, that 5 of coins. Actually, the 6 of coins, I'm sorry, 6 of coins. This is the problem with these kinds of tarot cards. I do miss. That's a 6. So this is actually in your favor. You are tipping those scales in your favor. That's great news. This is not a card of loss. That's a card of loss. Okay? The 5 of coins usually means you're kind of throwing things away, right? Okay. You're feeling a little left out in the cold. So, my apologies. I'm correcting on the fly here. I will do better. Okay, so baby steps. You will tip those scales in your favor. Now, the runes, I'm just going to turn them over one right after the other. And look at all of this. I was. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Those doubts have to die. They gotta go. You gotta put 2 in their head. Take them out behind the chemical shed. Pop 2 in the head of doubt. Pop 2 more in the head of fear. Leave them there to rot, baby. Let me tell you a little story about doubt and fear right now. I got my first 2 decks, I want to say about a year ago. I'm not exactly sure. I've only been doing this YouTube thing, and actually I've only been making videos, and I started on YouTube. I've only been doing that a few months. And don't you know, for 6 months, those decks sat on that shelf on the hutch on my desk. They sat right there. They did not move except for me to take them down and look at them every once in a while. I'm not going to lie to you. I was absolutely petrified of giving readings. Scared to death. Now I carry a tarot deck around with me at all times, in case someone would like a reading on my break at work, in case someone would like a reading just kind of wherever I am. And I've only been doing this for maybe about a few months. Not that long. But one day, I decided to hell with it. I pulled down each deck that I had, I pulled the book out, and I read that book from cover to cover. I'm going to show you something else. I made notes in this. I looked up every rune, I looked up every card, I jotted down a few key words, I jotted down a couple phrases. This book isn't always close by anymore. All I did was put it into my head, I can do this. That's the key thing. You can do it too. Once you let those fears die, this is what you become. Kanaz, the beacon, the torch that lights the way. You will light up someone else, and that someone else will start doing the same. This is no time for doubt. This is what you will help to bring about. Tevaz, the rune of the god Tyr, a god who is, yes, also a god of war, but also a god of justice. He is fair and balanced in all of his dealings. He is the one who sacrificed his hand. He put his hand into the mouth of Fenrir when Odin tricked him, and he bit Tyr's hand off. He sacrificed because he knew that there was a greater purpose to serve. Bringing peace. That is the purpose. I've always said this, I don't need 1,000,000 of you. I just need one. I just need a few. And then the rest of you can carry that forward. But the first thing you have to do is you have to remove that self-doubt. When you say, oh, I don't know how to do that, and you walk away. Or instead of, I don't know how to do that, can you teach me? Can you kind of give me that step by step until I get my feet under me? One of those is a limit. The other is asking for someone for help in removing that limit. Remember, collaboration, not competition. And this weekend is where that begins. And that's really the summary of it. Remove all doubt. Learn whatever you can. Stay with it. Remove your limits. And show the world how truly powerful you really are. But you have to believe it first. I thank you so much for joining me. By the way, if you're just joining me, this is almost what a personal reading will look like. Sometimes there are more cards. I hope this resonated with you. I thank you for having your morning cup of tea or your morning coffee with me. I love you all. Take care of yourselves and each other. Do what lights you up. Light someone else up. And as always, shine on. Oh, you're back for another post-credit scene? Okay. Wow. You guys really love these, don't you? Okay, well. Sorry, my, this post-nasal drip thing is killing me. Anyway. Alrighty, so you're back, okay. I don't really have anything to show off. I can go back to that card for just a second. Yeah, this card kind of ruled my life for a bit. And if you're new to the channel, no matter where it is, whether it's on YouTube or BitChute or Rumble or any of those places, I can say that card, yeah, fear, that's what did it. Pretty much ran the show. That's why I sat on tarot cards for 6 months. I was scared to death. But you knew that already. But why? The why is what you don't know. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. When I first started doing tarot, my first ever deck was the Hermetic Tarot. Sorry, I gotta clear my throat a lot. Anyway, the Hermetic Tarot was one that I don't recommend anyone start with. Now, if you're into Thelema and the Golden Dawn kind of stuff, you know, Book of Law and Aleister Crowley, okay, that's probably going to be your deck. I was just getting started. And looking back on it, I can kind of laugh about it now, but I was just kind of getting started, and I picked this deck up at a place called Esoterica in New Orleans. And when I picked it up, and I purchased that and another book. I can't remember what the book was now. But picked those two things up. They were what I could afford, and I think I picked up some candles too, and I picked up a few other things. Anyway, oh, excuse me, that tea really just bubbled up, did it not? Anyway, I picked this deck up, and we went back to a friend's house, and they saw my bag, and they were like, "Oh, you went to Esoterica?" Yeah, stopped off there. I said, "Oh, let's see what you got." Okay, no problem. So we break it out, we put it all on the table. They're looking through all this stuff, and they're looking at each other like, "Whoa." You know. And I heard one of them go, "This dude is serious." So, apparently, from my purchases, they thought, "Yeah, this guy is super serious about this thing. He's not playing around. He wants to learn." And that was true. But it goes back to that baby steps card. I was trying to take bigger leaps than what I was ready for. But these friends of mine didn't bother sharing this information with me. Instead, they actively encouraged it. Yes, this is good. So I took these cards home, knew nothing about tarot, studied that little book that came with it, and then began doing them. Note, I did not cleanse this deck, I did not charge this deck, I knew nothing about it. There is so much symbolism packed into one of these cards, just one of them, that there's so much to have to notice. And the advice I always got was, "Oh, just let your intuition take over." Okay. I took that advice. And I'm going to tell you something. Imagine having to deliver super personal spiritual messages with a 50 cal Desert Eagle pressed against your temple. That's what it felt like. Again, I was not ready for this. I wasn't prepared. Wasn't really given any pointers. Just kind of got the look of, "Whoa, this is serious." And I was as clueless, and I'll be honest, I was more confused than a cow in AstroTurf. Well, it got to where I was giving these readings, not very regularly, and for some reason, it was always some Pentecostal or Baptist preacher's daughter that wanted a reading. That should be a sign that something's gone horribly wrong. I lived in a very small town at the time, very, very predominantly Pentecostal and Baptist. So I was always getting these, these girls or something like that, that they were either the preacher's daughter or they were the daughters of people who were very active in the church. And they always wanted to keep it on the down low. "Oh, we can't talk about this." Okay, fine. And for some reason, they'd bring an entourage of their friends along for the reading. Yeah, that's a great sign. So not only am I having to deal with people of this nature, I'm also having to deal with behavior that should have been red flag city. And it wasn't at the time. Anyway, I would do these readings, and these readings would start to get super, super personal, and we're talking personal to the point where I would have the cards spread out, and I would just kind of be like, "Oh gosh," and I'd be like, "Okay, everybody get the hell out." And of course the little entourage would begin laughing. I'm like, "No, I'm absolutely serious. Get out. This is personal. This is not for your ears." This would lead to them leaving the room, and I in turn would deliver these messages. Many of them I did not want to deliver because they were a deep look into the, how can I say this delicately, intimate lives of these people for whom I was reading. I don't know why these cards gave me a look into their bedrooms, but I did not want that. Some of these things you cannot unsee, mentally speaking. So I would have to break the news to them. For example, there was a preacher's daughter whom I said, I know that you and your boyfriend are into this. I'm not going to say what. I said, your dad looks to be on you. He's on your trail. Stop it now. You stop it now. He turns up cold. And it just goes away as a nasty rumor. If you don't, it doesn't go away. It finds you, and you will be caught. Bub, stop that. He was messing around with my decks. Anyway. Yeah, I know you want that little, making that little kitty face, huh? Yeah. Alright, bud. Tell you what I want. You want to come up? Come up. Sorry. Anyway. I would give them this warning because you've seen on this channel we do have readings that are warnings. I'll give them this warning that if they stop now, it's nothing more than a nasty rumor and they can go about their lives. Naturally, give it about a month or so. In the middle of the day, I would hear loud, I do mean loud, banging on my door. I was renting a house at the time, and there was this loud just, I mean, it sounded like the police were there with a search warrant. And I'm like, what did I do? Now keep in mind, at the time, I had a waist about as big around as this pen. Had this really long hair and dyed jet black, and of all the rumors about me sleeping during the day happened to be true. I would wake up, stagger to the door with nothing but a pack of Marlboros, some flip-flops, and a pair of sweatpants on and a lighter. And of course I'm wearing shades because, hey, me and sunlight, we don't like, I love sunlight, don't get me wrong, but obviously doesn't really love me back all that well. So anyway, I open the door and there is Mr. Preacher or whoever else was prominent in the church community or was a pillar of the community screaming at me about reading tarot for his daughter. You figure they would be more mad at the boyfriend that they were doing intimate things with? No, they're mad at me for reading these cards. I would light a cigarette and I would give this person time to vent everything they need to vent. But they only had until my cigarette was done. I would then, after it was done, thump it out into the street because I did live on the main drag. I would just, thump that thing out, blow that last bit of smoke, look at the guy, completely disinterested. I wasn't listening. I was just waiting for him to shut up. I would look at him and go, look, dude, your daughter's a sexual deviant. That's got nothing to do with me. Be a better parent. And I would shut the door and walk away. After about, I don't know, a few of these incidents, I just quit reading. I don't want to blame the deck. The deck felt like it was slamming me into walls going, deliver the message. But it also had to do with the people for whom I read. And of course, a couple months or so down the road, same person would come up, hey, can you give me another reading? I'd be like, for you? Not a chance. Bugger off. And that would be the end of it. As it turns out, what would happen is I would give the warning the cards gave me. You know, I would relay that warning, look, I'm not judging you, here's what's going on. That person would then proceed to ignore that advice. They would get caught, and they got caught because of the friends that came along. They would naturally throw me under the bus, and that's why Dad would then, his anger would then not be directed at the daughter or the boyfriend, but to me, the interloper. So I did receive another deck, but this was after I had quit, and I quit reading. But something about this kind of drew me back, and it said, hey, you need to give it another chance. You got a gift, you had some traumas. Don't worry about those, they're over. Live and learn. But I still, to this day, will never use a Hermetic Tarot deck. That is not for me. I probably should have just gone Rider-Waite from the beginning. And that's important. So these are the lessons I took away from it. Number one, talk to the people for whom you're going to read first. Because you need to know whether or not they're going to take your advice. Number two, if you're going into something like this, if you're going to express your gift, you know, build slowly, build over time, talk to others. Others will be able to help you. You'll get good advice. Some advice won't be for you. That's fine. Always make sure you have support and, you know, people that will actually help you. I, of course, really didn't have that. I didn't live in New Orleans. I just went there from time to time. It was 3 hours away from me. And the number one thing I can tell you is, especially if it's tarot or if it's any of this that you're interested in, divination, make sure that you have a solid connection. Like if you pick up this deck, for example, you know, they got example cards on the back. You know, you can go online these days. Oh, I had my phone somewhere around here. I don't know where it went. Oh, it's on my desk. Never mind. You can pick up your cell phone and you can actually look up the deck and flip through each of the cards. You can find YouTube videos with a flip through, like what Witcharoo does a great service for this kind of thing. She just did Alana Fairchild's Crystal Mandala deck, which was absolutely gorgeous. I highly recommend you check it out. Wow, this is probably one of the longest videos I've ever done. Jeez. But anyway, make sure you have a connection with the tools that you're going to use. Make sure that you have a good support system. And furthermore, try not to get in over your head. Okay? Baby step it. Just stick your toes in the water first, then your feet, then your ankles. You don't have to do a high dive off. You don't have to do a dive off the high dive just yet into the deep end. Some people can, but it doesn't have to be you. If you have to, build that confidence. And remember, even if no one else believes in you, I do. That's why you're here. Alright? So, I hope that you that you at least got a laugh out of that story. I can look back on it and laugh now. Back then, it was interrupting my sleep, and I don't do well when my sleep is interrupted. So, I'm kind of an insomniac, so I kind of need all I can get, right? In any case, love you guys. Take care of yourselves and each other. And as always, like my kitty here, shine on.